Let me have the mic for just 5 minutes, okay? I was on the program to speak on Illinois carry laws, and I thought the time was going to be after the cake. But in any case, 5 minutes, okay? I'm going to talk about some controversial things. First of all, you have to understand that the police are not under an obligation to protect you. Anybody think they were? No. Really? You already know that. Okay, so it's not controversial. Okay, mass killings. Mass killings, they always occur at gun-free zones. We know that. They're known as target-rich environments. You also know Columbine Massacre. This is interesting. There was an armed security guard at Columbine High School. But he was shot at, and he said, geez, I'm not getting paid to get shot at, so he ran out. Columbine Massacre, 13 fatalities. There has not been a school shooting where the police have stopped the shooters. Okay? Something to think about. Do we want responsible adults in schools to protect our children? Wisconsin has open carry. There was the question about carry laws. Two types, shall issue and may issue. May issue is also known as discretionary carry. And it's usually done on a county basis. The sheriff or judge will issue, they'll do a background check and all that kind of stuff. Do you have some papers? Okay. I had a New York State carry permit. Can you imagine that? Can't get a carry permit in Illinois. Lived in New York State, got a carry permit. Also have a Florida permit. Now, full disclosure, I said I had a carry permit for Illinois. What I'm going to say is controversial. Some people behind me may, I don't know if you're going to like it or not. I have a carry permit. I have an Illinois FOID card. Illinois statute says, to transport a firearm, it must be cased and unloaded. What does this mean? In my car, I have my firearm. It is cased and it is unloaded. You have a semi-automatic where you have detachable magazines. Unzip, pull it out. You are legal in your car, cased and unloaded. There's a lot of other places. This has been adjudicated at least 3 times. Nobody more?
No, I mean the last one was Diggins, and they said they cited briefcase, butcher cases, they cited all kinds of stuff.
That didn't come after Cherry, though.
Excuse me, I've talked to I've talked to Illinois State Police. They do not believe it.
Okay, I'm not going to have a debate, but I'm going to tell you what the statute says and what the judges say. Police and Illinois State Police, a lot of them don't understand and don't know it and give you false information. But you don't have to question me. You go to the website, Illinois State Police, firearms laws. Look it up yourself. Illinois State Police website, firearm laws. The law says cased and unloaded when transporting a firearm. Case is undefined. Now, like I said, it's been adjudicated successfully at least 3 times. The latest I know about is at Cherryville Mall, Rockford, Illinois. The founder of iCarry, named Sean Cranish, who was with his wife, sitting in the food court. Sean Cranish, we know him, he likes to push the law to the limit. He had a holster, a Black Hawk holster. You can see it's a gun holster, plus a couple of magazines, I guess, attached with the holster. It's a holster, right? But he sewed a piece of fabric over the top of it to fully encase the firearm. It's a holster! Went to court, the judge agreed, yeah, okay, it's pushing it, but it meets the requirement of cased and unloaded. It's been adjudicated. The law says, regardless of what a cop says to you, the law says cased and unloaded when transporting a firearm. The state's attorney in Winnebago County, they appealed that decision because they wanted somebody to define a case for them. After 2 years, that case was dropped, so that's gone. It has been adjudicated legally, transporting a firearm, cased and unloaded. Now, don't just go out and do it before reading. Yeah, there's restrictions where you can do it and all that kind of stuff, okay? But it's been adjudicated.
It's the criminal code.
Oh, geez, I'll have to ask him. Okay.
That's the problem.
Transporting in cars, misinformation. Cops will tell you all kinds of things. Tell you again. The statute says cased and unloaded. I am driving in my car with this. It's cased and unloaded. It meets the statute. Okay. Other laws, concealed carry laws in other states. There's the reciprocal agreements. You want to know about that? Florida has reciprocal agreements with what? About a dozen other states. Okay, it keeps growing exponentially. All right, fine. Dozens of reciprocal agreements. Now, I'm an Illinois resident. Why do I want a Florida permit? Because of the reciprocal agreement. I can go in some of these other states that have reciprocal agreements and carry. Now, the fine print is some of these states with the reciprocal agreements say Florida has one with Missouri. Missouri will recognize a Florida permit if you are a resident of Florida. Yes. So in any case, so read the fine print before you say, oh, it has a reciprocal agreement with this other state I'm visiting. Make sure it recognizes out-of-state permits. You can get an out-of-state permit pretty easy. Pennsylvania, Utah, Florida, some others nowadays. Okay, someone else asked about the least restrictive gun laws in the United States. Vermont usually takes the prize. They don't require nothing. You can do what you want with the gun. Alaska's very close, about the same now. Arizona's very close, about the same, where you don't need nothing. You're of age, wander around, concealed, not concealed. Certain places, of course, where they don't want you to have them, but for the most part, you don't need nothing. I guess that's about it. You might wonder why people like us want to carry guns, or why we want to. One reason is policeman's too heavy. Another reason is when seconds count, you can bet that the police are only minutes away. Okay. So FOID card, yeah, everyone should get one. Some people would see it as a restriction. The courts don't see it as a restriction because it's available to anybody unless you have a criminal record. Costs $10 for 10 years. Pretty cheap. So, questions from the...
He is absolutely right on that, but one of the points that we always make is how much money pushing that law that you want to give your lawyer.
Yeah,
yes, you can do this, and there's all sorts of case laws and all that. But I'm married to a lawyer, and she charges $450 an hour. There you go. Okay.
One thing that, as far as transportation, a good rule of thumb is the trapping and hunting regs. That's a good thing to go by, because that is universally accepted across the state by law enforcement as far as transportation.
Real quick.
That's the thing, that case is undefined, right? So if you have a paper bag with a gun next to you in the car, they probably will frown on that, probably get arrested. So, but if it's locked in the trunk, you're probably okay. So make sure it's a really heavy case if you're going to do something to the limits of the law. That's a real case, so there's no question. Sean Cranish, he really pushed it. He paid a lot of money for it. He got away with it.
Yeah, Robert said something that we tell everybody in our classes, and that is this. Diggins, who was the guy that started all this, who had a .45 in his glove compartment and a .357, unloaded in the center console, with a loaded magazine and 6 rounds of .357, but not in the gun. The great hero, everyone, he was just a kid going on vacation. Everybody makes him out to be the superhero. While all this was going on, Diggins spent 8 months in the penitentiary. He lost his job, he lost all his